All right. What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Oh, shoot. It's Hawaiian Shirt Friday. I don't even have a Hawaiian shirt on. That's right. We'll bring it back in the summer. Um, Sorry I haven't done a video in a little while. I haven't really had any positions on at all, and been busy as well. So, all those factors, I haven't made a video. However, I realized today I had the thought that, it is kind of doing a disservice if anybody gets anything out of this, which I know some people do, where at least, my thoughts, as well as, to myself. But so we're going to be doing videos going forward, regardless if I have positions on or not. Also, I think I'm going to do a separate video for a day trading video as well. I don't know if I'm going to do a separate video or just maybe put it in at the end. I think maybe I'll do a separate video because I think some people just could care less about one video or the other. I know lots of people love talking about day trading. So I'll probably do a second video about that. So let me know, in the comments if you would like me to do a second video about day trading. And we'll go over, I'll do a second video of everything that I did. So yeah, because, I know when I started making these videos, I was adding in what I was doing with day trading, but I was still trying to figure out exactly the type of strategy that I wanted to use. It was still a work in progress, as I've really only done day trading for a couple years and really tried to figure it out. And I think now I have a very good strategy, or one I'm comfortable with. So let me know if you want me to do a second video on that or not. So anyways, let's jump into what's going on, what I've did today, in terms of positional, in terms of positions. So first thing, Bitcoin. So right away, as this was kind of falling, and I know I wasn't making videos back through here, but as this was kind of failing, and then started really breaking, and especially below 90, my target was 80 to 78, and anywhere in there I was going to go long Bitcoin. Couple different factors for that. Number one, the 200-day moving average was like right around 80,000 or something like that, So, and this is Bitcoin futures, so it looks a little bit different. But on spot Bitcoin, it was somewhere around 80,000, and then, a bunch of people are going to have their stops below the 200-day moving average. So ultimately, that would have been a fantastic spot to get in, below the 200-day moving average. And then as well, there's this gap to fill right here with futures, and sure enough, this morning that happened. So pretty much first thing this morning, pre-market, and I'm on Pacific time, so that's pretty early, is I started going long MicroStrategy, although I guess they've changed their name to Strategy now. So pre-market, I was buying right around 239, so you can see here, pre-market somewhere in here. What is this, 5:30 my time? Yeah, so somewhere right around in here. So somewhere like this would make perfect sense, somewhere right at 5:30. 239, then as soon as market open, anyways, let's look at MicroStrategy. 200-day moving average. Bitcoin looks good for risk to reward. We'll see if a new uptrend is going to be established. That's yet to be seen, but that doesn't mean there isn't a trade to take. And so with MicroStrategy, right at the 200-day moving average, same thing with Bitcoin, same thing with this gap being filled here, and it being pre-market. I was buying shares in MicroStrategy 239 as the average cost basis, and in a couple different accounts I was buying MicroStrategy. So in the taxable account, it's 239 and some change is the average cost basis, and so that's where it's at right here. Price target's right around 300 for this for MicroStrategy, so 290 something would be good. Now let's go over to IBIT. So I got calls in IBIT as well. Very first thing right away as soon as the market opened, which I typically don't do that. But the move had already happened pre-market in Bitcoin. So it was already not confirmed, but the place where I wanted to see Bitcoin get to and then bounce off of had already transpired. So right away, first thing in the morning, I was going to go after that. And yeah, there is this gap to fill down here, and very well could have been, whatever. So anyway, so IBIT, May 16 is the expiration, $49 strike price. 388 is what I paid for those calls. It was currently 432, and the reason that those are out of the money and shorter dated and much more aggressive than my typical style is because this is more of a shorter term trade. This is not going to be a long term trade. Now I hope it turns into that, but as of now, this is not in an uptrend. Like Bitcoin is not in an uptrend. So until an uptrend gets established, then I'll go for a longer directional play. As of now, this is more of like a range sort of trade, right? Some where the risk to reward was really good and getting some sort of bounce, and so that's what's happening. That's everything with Bitcoin now. In terms of actual Bitcoin, my position and thought process on that is completely different. Again, this is just in the brokerage account, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Coinbase, Robinhood, whatever exchange, right? That's something totally different than completely different strategy. So, okay, so now let's look at some Bitcoin miners here. So Marathon, apparently they had a really good reaction to earnings, gave it all back up though that day. Wow. Oh, jeez. Wow, they absolutely crushed it. Maybe I need to go back and listen to that. Yeah, so I should go back and listen to Marathon's earnings. And like I said, I like that CEO for the limited amount of time I've listened to a decent amount of him talking and the strategy and stuff. So I like him from what I know. Okay, so there's that CleanSpark. Yeah, gosh, these Bitcoin miners are just getting crushed. Wow, HUT way below the 200-day moving average. Yeah, see, I mean, this is not good. This is not good. You guys always see the thing where Bitcoin's performance this cycle, post halving versus all the previous ones, and it's underperformed all of them. And so then I'll have people that'll say, oh, that means it's got to catch up and it's gonna go crazy, and it very well could, but never ever has underperformance ever been a good thing in any aspect of life, especially equities. Never do you go after something that's underperforming and expect extraordinary results, right? You know, it doesn't work that way. So my stance on that whole thing is like the opposite of what people say, where it's underperformed, and that I've never thought that that was been a good thing. Now, could it turn around? Yeah, absolutely. I hope it does. And it totally could and just rock it. But that obviously that's yet to be seen. As of now, this is not in an uptrend. So until this gets into an uptrend, I will treat this as not in an uptrend, because that's all that there is, right? You know, so like I can have my opinion on where I think something's going to go or how something's going to perform, whatever. Long term, you can have an opinion, but it's just that. It's just an opinion. All that I can do is trade based upon exactly what we're seeing here. And this is not in an uptrend. This is a good risk to reward for me to take a trade. That's it. That's all. And we'll leave it at that. Ethereum. Yeah, so, all right, so moving on. Oh, so yeah, that's all the positions. That's it. Now, even though Q's looked pretty good off this 200-day moving average, my plan was to do some intraday trades, which I did, but not to hold any position going into the weekend. And I already I started a position in Bitcoin right now anyways, right? So, so that's essentially, you know, being long risk assets, right? You know, that's the market views Bitcoin as a risk asset. So kind of, you know, I don't want to. So anyways, my plan was not to hold any position over the weekend in indexes. And so I didn't do that. Although at the end of the day, I was kind of kicking myself like, man, are you kidding? Like, this was the most insane rally going into the close. You know, this was just like massive. So, okay, so let's go over indexes here. So NASDAQ looks okay. It's held the 200-day moving average. If this is not in an uptrend. There's no obvious trade right here. This area you could view as resistance right here or up here, the 21-day or the 50-day moving average. So my point being, there's going to be a bajillion opportunities to get in here if this is for real, or a short opportunity, up here. Right, so there's going to be so many different ways to play it. My plan, like I said, was not to hold anything into the weekend, do some intraday trading. But regardless, NASDAQ still looks okay. Let's see this on a weekly chart. And a weekly chart looks bad. Yeah, this just does not look good to me. So yeah, is there some sort of longer term trend line we can draw here? Yes, there is. Wow. Okay, so then I completely changed my mind. There's totally a longer term trend that we can draw here, and now I'm not convinced that this does look bad on a weekly. See, that's why doing these videos sometimes are good. Man, yeah, we are back and better than ever. Yeah, see, look at this. Wow, this is a long term trend line that has been respected. Oh, cool. All right, so there's that, NASDAQ. All right, looks good. Ish. Russell looks horrible below the 200-day moving average. It's such a bummer to see. With the GDP estimate that has got revised like way down, that's obviously horrible for Russell, which is such a bummer. I was really, really bullish on Russell. Really bullish, but no longer am I. All right. Dow, great close, but still hanging around here. Let's extend this to the right. I was long Dow, maybe in here or something. One of the last times that I had made a video. I took a loss on that one. I'm not in that position anymore. And so yeah, we'll just wait and be patient, right? You know, you want to see this hold over the 50-day moving average, over 21-day moving average. Right here would be forcing a trade, and this morning you would feel like a hero, you know, but right here, right now, it's forcing a trade. We'll let it do its thing, whatever. You know, United Health, oh, we'll go over this later, but, you know, United Health, a huge component of the Dow, is completely capitulated. You know, this is horrible. This is full-blown capitulation, gonna bear market, like, wow. Now, this does have gaps to fill up here. So, as this will run up and fill these gaps, you know, that'll help Dow. Okay, so there's all that. Oh, SPY. Again, same thing, SPY. Let's see if there is this longer-term trend line here, too. Yeah, let's do this on a weekly. Yeah, wow, crazy. So I didn't know any of this until right now. We're discovering this together. Probably everyone that's watched this is like, well, duh, I already had these trend lines. Yeah, look at that. Oh my goodness gracious. Man, I'm kicking myself. Ugh. Anyways, long-term trend lines respected. Way down in extreme territory here. So again, if this hasn't even formed a new uptrend. So if and when it does form a new uptrend, there'll be so many opportunities to go after this, and it'll be magnificent. Or maybe it'll roll over, and then there's plenty of short opportunities to go after it too. So whatever happens is all good. So there's that. Now let's go over Mag 7. Talk about a terrible year for Mag 7. Tesla down 1,000%. But again, you know, so here are the 200-day moving average. You know, for a shorter term swing trade, I think Tesla looks fantastic for that. And again, if Tesla starts going up, which I would suspect that it would, I would be shocked if Tesla is in a super extreme territories of falling so much, it hits the 200-day moving average and just keeps going. I would say the chance of that would be like 2%, right? So I would say there's a higher probability that this continues higher, and that'll help indexes. Let's look at this on a weekly chart. Now, wow. Yeah, so here this looks like good to me for an entry, you know. Oftentimes during these videos I'll talk about well, that's not true. I talk about entries all the time. I talk about every trade I take. But oftentimes in these videos I just refer to something that looks good, but not necessarily where I'll get into it, right? So like all through here, you know, I'm like, yeah, Tesla looks fantastic. But, you know, in terms of any entry in here, like, no, I would not have started a position, you know, in here or anywhere. But that doesn't mean that it looks bad. It's just for a risk to reward, for me, I want to get in. But here it looks fantastic. So anyways, there's that Tesla. Okay, so Tesla. Let's go to Netflix. I usually forget that. I wonder if Netflix is included in Mag 7. I feel like it is. But Netflix looks really good. Again, you know, yes, for entry, yeah, for sure. You could use this 50-day moving average as what you're risking. But, you know, they're kind of business gap to fill, so I would give it some wiggle room, right? You know, so from 980 down to 900, right around 8%. So not terrible for an equity position, right? So, I mean, you could risk like 10%. So it's not a terrible risk to reward there. So I can see Netflix being a good entry point here-ish. Let's look at this on a weekly chart. Yeah, so, you know, pulling back and whatever. Clearly uptrending. Let's draw a longer term trend line here. Wow, since we're onto this. All right, let's not. All right, so that's Tesla, Netflix. Now let's go over to Google. Man, talk about a capitulation again. Just really strange, anomalous things that have been happening in markets. And again, that's not bullish. However, we're getting to such extreme levels and in indexes that uptrend has been held. And there's very bearish sentiment. So in terms of a shorter term trade, I think there's one to take. But man, just completely blast through the 50-day moving average. And again, nothing good happens below the 50-day moving average. That's why, so like during a raging bull market, you look like a complete idiot for cutting positions below a certain price target, right? It doesn't exactly matter what that is. But kind of like the line in this, usually a 21-day moving average, I do like, and especially for options. But the 50-day moving average is for sure 100% like boom, cutting it. And you usually during a bull market look like an idiot because it'll rebound and go much higher. But when that bull market's over, it really saves you. And so below this 50-day moving average here on this particular time, really, man, just blast it. And then straight through the 200-day moving average. Very surprising. Let's look at this on a weekly chart. So the 170 levels, clear and obvious support. And again, hey, if this whole, if you want to, again, take like a shorter term trade, right? Because sometimes you got to take what the market gives you. I can understand that. A very short term, I could see this kind of rebounding. Longer term, this is below the 200-day moving average, below the 50-day moving average. In a downtrend, this is absolute 100% no-go. Apple, I think, looks okay. Whoa, what a massive rebound today. Wow, so this is showing some serious strength and most certainly something to go after. Holy moly. So, and the stochastic is down here at 20, RSI right around 50. So this is everything. Wow, shook everybody out. Such a strong close. Holy cow, does Apple look fantastic. After Apple. Wow, Apple looks really good. I'm really happy we looked at this. Although this whole area is a little bit strange, right? But you cannot argue with the strength. That is insane. Wow. I wonder who was in there buying today. Whoa. I'm sure there was no funny business going on in here this morning. Oh, yeah. That's good old-fashioned price manipulation right there for sure, taking out all of those stops. Wow. But anyways, that's not Uncle Joe and Aunt Susie buying. This is serious. Wow. So, yeah, man, does Apple look fantastic. Monday that'll be an equity position for longer term accounts, So Apple looks great. Now I'm lost of what I've even gone through for Mag 7. Now Microsoft looks the worst. But again, so short term, if we're just talking short term, the chance of this going higher in the short term is greater than it going lower. But the uptrend has been lost for a long time. We've been talking about this for a long time, many months. The uptrend is completely gone. It is the laggard. This 200-day moving average that you can see in red has been lost. Everything is completely rolling over. Last time this happened in here, right? So, like, again, can anything happen? Yes. This is just a game of probabilities. Short term, I could see this higher. Any sort of long term position in this is a no. Okay. Google. Oh, Meta. Meta has been kicking butt. And again, this looks great off the 50-day moving average. Meta's kicking butt, taking names. Again, a good entry point here for sure. You know, below the 50-day moving average. So an equity position, you'd be risking like 30-ish points. So the risk to reward in this one is fantastic as well. I mean, shoot. So Meta looks good. Yeah, Meta looks good. So does Apple. Netflix looks good. Longer term, the trend line is still in place for equities, and that's fantastic. I was really bummed. I thought, man, is this bull market really over? You know, every single stock in Mag 7 looked horrible until I did this video, and then I thought about, man, Apple looks freaking killer. Tesla looks like a great entry point for a huge move, because it is Tesla. So, yeah. So that's that. Some other positions that I closed out that did work out with utilities, oddly enough, right? You guys remember I said right around 80. Those contracts went from like 240 to 290 or so. So that was a good gain. There was something else that I was in that I can't remember. That worked out. Things that did not work out, but I can't remember the other one was. So, you want to talk about a loser that I took the other day. Gosh, it's just like so many anomalies are happening. So, Royal Caribbean, massive uptrend. The stock has just been crushing it, killed it on earnings. Perfect pullback right here. Stochastic down here was at like 20, right? You know, I mean, this was off the 21-day moving average. Textbook, beautiful. So I was adding all through here and then gets absolutely blasted. So that was, again, it's just like, man, down 8% this day, or maybe it was 12, and then down like another 4% the following day. You know, and I know that was off the back of the COVID news, but and so gosh, I'm trying to think of some other positions. That was really it. I really haven't really been in anything really. So still looks whatever. All right, now let's go over gold and silver. Gold has now broken this downtrend. However, or this uptrend, I should say. However, I still a chance to go long, and I most certainly will here at some point. So watching gold, same thing with silver. There's going to be a chance to go long silver here. Now let's look at corn and wheat. Boom, blasted straight through here. But again, this corn's above the 200-day moving average, right? So once something gets established again, I'll be going after corn. Let's look at wheat. Won't be going after wheat. And that's it. You guys, glad to be back. Happy Friday. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side on Monday.